No point in declaiming an ode when we have our own special code. No need to speak, no need to sing, when just a glance means everything, not a word need be spoken.
Lately, I've become worried about my wife. She used to be an upbeat person, but lately she's become very sad. She cries at everything. Long-distance telephone commercials, nature specials when animals of prey get killed, sometimes over nothing at all. She'll
George,
just be washing the dishes and suddenly slump over.
George, I can hear you. I'm right here.
I'm just trying to explain how you've been lately.
How I've been.
Yes, your tendency to be kind of sad.
Well, that's very funny, kind of hilarious, actually, because from my viewpoint, you're the one who's sad.
Me?
You.
Why, that's ridiculous. Why should I be? Why should you think I'm sad? I don't cry. I don't carry on.
Exactly.
You're the one who can't stop crying. She cries when she makes salad. She cries when she swifts the floor. She cries when she pays the bills and uses her tears to seal the envelopes.
But
She even cries in her sleep. She wakes up in the morning and there are little pools of tears in her ears. She gets up, they trickle down her neck and become little pools in her collarbone. And where are you going? And then she goes. She never wants to talk about it. No matter. It's not like I don't have other things to attend to. There are lots of developments in my field, and I must constantly keep abreast of. Too many, in fact. The task is quite Sisyphean. Mary?
Yes.
What's this?
What is what?
Husband or throw pillow? Wife or hot water bottle? Marriage or an old cardigan? Love or explaining how to use the remote control?
What is that?
I'm asking you. It was in my book.
That's odd.
Right here in my book. It's a new book.
Is it a bookmark?
It was written on a scrap of paper.
Maybe some bookstore worker put it there.
It's in your handwriting, Mary.
I don't know what you mean.
In a moment of sadness, sitting on the last, lowest note, she knew they both saw the fragility of their marriage when he said, maybe we should try ballroom dancing. Mary! What does this mean?
I have no idea.
I know you put this in here.
This couldn't possibly be me. You've never suggested ballroom dancing.
So you're saying someone snuck into our home.
There are people you know
put
who go
notes
into
into my
houses
book,
and take
my
ladies'
tea?
underwear.
Yes.
So,
Take. Operative word. Not leave behind. The fragility of their marriage. What is that? What does that mean?
these notes aren't from me. How many times do I have to say it?
Just admit it. Admit you're the one going around leaving bad poetry lying around.
It isn't me.
Now, my wife is not one to lie, nor is she one to write poetry, if that's even what these are. It would seem quite impossible that she's the one leaving these for me to find. And yet, she is the only other person in this house besides me. And so I thought, maybe I'd catch her in the act. wanted to, that is, perhaps we could discuss
Discuss.
this habit of yours, this phase. Perhaps you could use help.
Well, now that you mention it, it would be nice if you could vacuum the stairs.
I meant help with other issues.
What issues?
Well, the crying, among other things. I don't think, and I could be wrong, although I highly doubt it, that it's normal to be this way.
Oh, you'd rather I be your way.
What way?
Well, I just find it odd a little, don't you think, that we've been together for how many years now, and I've never seen you cry. Not once.
Is that all?
When we watch the news, I'm weeping, and all you do is continue to read. Earthquakes, massacres, it doesn't matter. You
It numbs
read.
you. Lots of people have the same. It's our inability as humans. Large tragedies overwhelm us.
When Cookie died, you didn't even want to go to the vet.
Well, she was your dog. She never even liked me.
And I should have known something was wrong when your grandmother passed away, and everyone else was bawling, but you didn't even shed a tear.
Well, she was old, and it's not like we were, you know, close. We didn't even speak the same language.
But still, the human reaction, the normal reaction is to mourn.
I do mourn. I mourn a lot.
You mourn ideas, not people.
Cookie wasn't a person.
She was to me.
Look, I don't find death, a single human or canine death, to be a tragedy. I'm sorry, because we all die. It's not like something unnatural is happening. It's not like when my grandmother died, it was unexpected. I mean, she'd been sick a long time, and she was old. What, I should be
I'm
devastated?
leaving you.
What? What did you say? At this point, I'm thinking I must have misheard her. It's just a misunderstanding, and we can go on just as before. She could lie, is what I'm saying, and pretend that the words that just came out of her mouth did not just come out of her mouth.
I'm leaving you.
But she doesn't, and they do.
I'm leaving.
It's a very curious thing when your wife leaves you. The world slows down. Words become lugubrious.
I'm leaving you.
My heart was beating very fast, but instead of thumping, every beat was saying, take it back, take it back, take it back, just like that, like a rhythm. And it was so loud, I couldn't hear anything else, not even my own thoughts, whatever they might have been. And I was sure she was hearing it too. It was as loud as horse hooves, louder than tanks. How could anybody not hear it? Take it back, take it back, take it back. Or if she couldn't hear it, certainly she must be able to see it. The words running like ticker tape through the whites of my eyes, like those old cartoons when a cat's hit in the head with a mallet. Take it back, take it back. My whole body was begging her. Take it back, take it back. If you leave, it'll destroy me. Take it back, take it back. I'll be a city in ruins. Take it back, take it back. It's not too late. Take it back, take it back. My whole body was shouting. Couldn't she hear it? Why wasn't she saying something?
George?
Yes?
Well, don't you have anything to say?
Go. I am a linguist. That is my trade. Lots of people ask me if that means I can speak a lot of languages, and I do have a passable acquaintance with Greek, Latin, French, Cantonese, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, and Esperanto. Of all of these, I am perhaps most fond of Esperanto, that made-up utopian dream of a language. Proudly, I say to you, La vivo sen Esperanto estas neimagebla al mi. Life without Esperanto is unimaginable to me. So, what is death to a linguist? What is, so to speak, worth mourning? I know this. There are 6,900 languages in the world. Of these, more than half are expected to die out within the next century. In fact, it is estimated that every 2 weeks, another language dies. I don't know about you, but that statistic moves me far more than any statistic about how many animals die or how many people die at a given time in a given place. Because when we say a language dies, we are talking about a whole world, a whole way of life. It is the death of imagination, of memory. And that saddens me far more than I could ever possibly express. Even with all of my languages, there still aren't the right words.
Morning, George.
Morning, Emma.
How was your weekend?
Fine. It was... What are we doing today?
The Elowins are here.
The who?
The Elowins, George? You've been looking forward to this all month.
Right, the Elowins. How are they?
They're fine. They wanted breakfast, so I took them to an IHOP, and now they're waiting in the lounge. George, is everything okay? You seem a bit...
I apologize. I will focus. The Elowins. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. You fixed it.
I did.
Emma, you really are wonderful. Do you know that? Let them in.
Of course. Right this way?
Come in, come in. Welcome. Welcome to the Language Archive. It's an honor to have you both here. Oh, good. How was your flight?
I am not depressed. First of all, I think you should know that. Depression to me is numbness, the absence of emotion. My husband sees me bow my head and weep and thinks that this is depression. Sadness, he calls it. My husband is very reductive. What he does not know, since he has not cried probably since he was 7 and broke a limb or something, what he does not know is that there are many reasons for weeping. There is the, I can't believe how beautiful it is, so I weep. Or, I can't believe how true it is, so I weep. Or, I can't believe I'm going to die someday, so I weep. Or, I can't believe everyone I love is going to die someday, so I weep. Or, I am marked for suffering, so I weep. Or, we are all marked for suffering, so I weep.
Where we are now is the very heart of the Language Archive, a 500-strong collection of priceless tapes and recordings. It is the last surviving remnant of worlds and cultures that no longer exist, of languages such as Arden, Patotok, Giskin, and, after this week, with your help, Eloe. This is the room where we'll be recording you. I can't begin to tell you how excited we were to find there were still speakers of LOA left. We thought the language died out in 1954. And the fact that you're married. Usually, when we get to the point where there are 1 or 2 speakers left, they're not even fluent in it. A second or third language half remembered at best. Or we only have 1, and they're only able to tell stories, long, unbroken soliloquies. But to be able to record actual conversations, well, this is just so exciting. I'm really quite beside myself. Well, shall we begin? Whenever you're ready.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Did not.
Did so, did so, did so. You did so. Take up the entire armrest, which make it not so very comfortable, let me telling you.
Well, it is not fair that you made me sit in the middle. Nobody likes the middle, but who goes into the middle?
You wanting me to sit next to big guy with big shoulders make me squeeze? You know I have a weak heart.
You do not. You say you do because you are a worm, a lying worm. My life was like a beautiful, perfect apple, and you are a worm who eats the rotten heart.
Yes, exactly. Rotten heart you have. It's killing me every day.
Stop! Please, stop the recording. I'm sorry, but is this somehow for our benefit?
Excuse.
That you're arguing in English, is that for us?
No.
This is mostly assumption.
We are talking in English.
Because English is a language of anger.
Only angry people speak it. Only hot people.
Yes, with guns.
And very bad manner.
But our language.
Our language is too sacred for this kind of
Our
angry talk.
language is a language of...
What would you call
Our
it?
language is a language our parents filled into our ears.
At night with susurrations.
Whispers.
Yes, because it was the language
Of their hearts.
There was no English in their heart.
No.
Consequently, there is no English in our heart.
So true.
And that is why we can argue in it. Say mean, hateful, ugly things.
Yes.
That is what English is perfect for.
Yes, makes sense, see?
No, makes sense. I don't see.
He is angry, we are angry at each other.
I'm not angry. The whole point of having you here is to study, to record your native tongue.
Well, if you would apologize, then we would speak it.
Me apologize?
Yes, first time we are on plane ride, you take window seat. I can't see nothing. Okay, no big deal. No big shirt off my back. But then I have big thoughts.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, and this is not just about plane ride, no. Not just about armrest, no. This is much bigger fish. This is what my husband is like in life. In life, we are on plane. We are on journey. And always he takes window seats.
I gave you my youth. I gave you my blood. Look at me now. I am old man with a weak heart.
Oh, and me? My heart, it hurts too. It hurts because I married you and not Gary Sega when I had chance.
Oh, get a cigar? Get a cigar? Get a fucking cigar!
Yes, he is good to wife. He said, here, sweetie heart of mine, you take window seat and I will sit next to big smelly man.
Complain. Oh, you do. Do I complain?
Complain about what?
Complain about your bitching bad cooking.
My cooking?
Yes.
What is wrong with my cooking?
Force it down my gullet, I do, but it is like sludgy.
You used to love my cooking. I see the way you smack it down.
Because I pretend.
You awful man.
Oh, yes, this chicken is very good, Walter. Thank you.
I hate you.
Calm down.
Do you know what it is like to labor each day to make a meal only to have it spit out?
Poisoning me, you are.
Oh, worse than to be shot in head, worse than to be stabbed in chest.
Stab in chest, walk in park, compared to your stew, salt in everything. It's deliberate. You know about my
That is it. You have pushed me too far. I didn't want to.
There's a woman, no.
I did it to me into silence, never to speak, never.
Oh, yes? Dead to me, into the silence, everlasting void, ever!
Reston? Reston! Alta!
Yes?
Why aren't you speaking?
Of course, I'm speaking to you.
What does that mean? What about Reston?
Who?
Staff meeting!
According to the research, what we just witnessed was a ghost curse.
A ghost curse?
Yes, apparently Eloans believe that if a person behaves reprehensibly, the community can make that person an outcast by effectively excommunicating the offending person. He or she is no longer spoken to or acknowledged. This silent treatment relegates the offender to the status of a ghost, wiping out his or her existence in the daily normal affairs of life. That's awful. It's just like my parents' marriage.
So how do we reverse it?
You can't. Apparently, it's for life. Once you do it, you can't take it back.
So you're saying they will never speak to each other again?
Well, in order for them to do so, we would need the services of an Eloan shaman. But the last one died in 1949.
1949?
I'm very sorry, George.
This is the worst day of my life.
Don't you think that's a bit of an overstatement?
Not really.
George, I was going to step out for a bit, but perhaps I should stay? That is, if you wanted me to, I could. George?
What was that?
I said, I'll be back.
Oh, all right. She likes to visit other marriages like a tourist, but like a tourist, she knows she'll never get inside. Other marriages remain as mysterious as clocks, whose pleasant faces hide gears she'll never understand. Is it comfort or woe that every clock, no matter how fine, eventually lags behind? We pushed on into the wilderness, and there, between the gorge and the river, we discovered a heretofore unknown group of people. They called themselves Elopa, river people, and they speak a lilting, melodic tongue not unlike the rushing of water. Legend has it that their language was created long ago by the first man and woman who fell in love upon seeing each other and needed words for all they wanted to convey. What sounds, what stops, what movements of the teeth and tongue, all were chosen for what sounded beautiful. This was their courtship, and it is said that when the language was first spoken, it sounded exactly like song. The world this book describes is gone, dead, never to return. And this beautiful, wondrous tongue, forged mysteriously and inexplicably over centuries, perhaps millennia, is about to disappear forever. We are standing on the precipice, my friends. You are looking right at it. You are all that stands between an entire world and oblivion. So, I ask you, will you choose to remember? Or will you choose to forget?
Please tell the person at the other end of the table that he should change his cologne because the smell is truly making me nauseous.
And please tell the woman she should learn some grammar because one is nauseated, not nauseous.
Please tell the person at the other end of the table that he smells like a dead weasel that's been laid in trap with raccoon guts for 7 days.
And tell the woman, ooh, you mean like the smell of your cookies?
That's enough. I want you fly buzzing. You?
Don't eat it!
I am thinking that you must think I am a terrible cook. This pains me so. So I give you food. You eat. You see?
Don't eat it!
There is nothing repulsive-ish about it. No liver, no brain, not even the lovely lobe of ear, not even the tasty colon. I keep to safe, happy parts.
Very kind of you, Alta, but frankly, I'm just not very hungry.
Not hungry? Not hungry?
Alta,
He won't eat, you won't eat. Why does Alta just kill herself?
I meant no disrespect, Alta, please.
I am useless. More useless than a sterile goat. My ancestors would spit on me. A woman who cannot cook. I am a worm. I am useless. A utterless gal.
No! Alta! Please! Alta! Alta, look. It smells rich.
Very good for you too.
Don't eat it!
Maybe somebody. You're hungry, aren't you? Maybe somebody else is happy with dollar menu at McDonald's. But big smart scientists like you with big busy brain need nourishment. Yes, real food.
I'm telling you!
George, is this a bad time?
No trouble. Alta, rest it, if you could.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worry. I was just... You didn't go. Why are you dressed like that?
This is what I wear when I travel. I didn't mean to come this way. The cab driver wanted to take this route.
Cab? Why? I could have driven you.
That's very nice of you, George, but I don't think that's how this works. Anyway, I didn't realize we'd be going right by the campus. I found myself saying, I need to make a stop before I even knew I was going to say it.
Where exactly are you going?
To the station, and after that, I'm not really sure. George, there's something I wanted to ask you about the way we left things.
Yes.
Are you sure you have nothing to say to me?
I...
You must have something to say.
Did you know I can remember everything you wore on our first date? You wore a blue shirt with part of a handprint on it in white.
It was flour. I'd been baking bread that day.
And you smelled like bread. And you wore those jeans you don't wear anymore.
I can't fit in them anymore. All that bread.
You had a belt on with stripes on it, like a rainbow, and black shoes with a very square toe. I remember looking at them and thinking they looked very witch-like, but in a good way, a cute way.
A cute which way?
Yes, and I liked your knees because they turned in to look at each other. And I remember thinking to myself, these are the knees of a woman I could love.
Yes.
Yes,
George.
Mary.
And?
And
Oh. There is no and?
I just told you I love you.
That's not exactly what you said.
Then tell me what you want me to say and I'll say it.
George, that's not how this works.
Stop saying that. Stop saying that you know how this works and I don't. Like this is some kind of process with preordained rules, and why won't you admit it? You did write those notes. You did!
Clearly this was...
You came just to leave again? Why? Why?
I'm sorry, George. I really am.
Again.
Kill the nomijas?
Kiel vi nomijas.
Sorry. Kill the nomijas mi
nomijas, Emma.
mi nomijas
Jas? Emma. Good.
No, it's not good at all.
Oh, you're getting the hang of it. Do not despair.
I sound silly, all clunky and harsh.
No, you must not say that. Esperanto is the most beautiful language in the world. You just don't know it yet.
I just don't seem to be very good at it. I know it's a very logical language, but I can't seem to-
Anyone can learn Esperanto. If you're not learning it, then I must be doing something wrong. Oh, yes, it must be me.
No, that's not what
I must be teaching you wrong because I am awful. Yes, it's the worst, most terrible teacher of Esperanto in all the world.
No, I'm just not very good at it. I'm not very good at languages, at least not the live ones.
No. Zamenhof, God rest his soul, made a language anyone can learn. Millions of people have learned it with ease and alacrity. If you are not learning it, then it must be my failure.
Please, I really wish you wouldn't take it so personally.
How could I not? Zamenhof would be ashamed. Yes, so ashamed. Unless it is not me, but you?
Me?
Yeah, you. Perhaps you have some kind of block, some kind of psychological reason to not want to learn the most perfect, beautiful language in the world. Some kind of trauma, some kind of stress. Why do you want to learn this language?
Why?
Yes, why? What does reason make you call me, make you come here? Why do you want to learn Esperanto?
Well, I always liked Esperanto, you know, a universal language. And Zamenhof, his story is so inspiring, how he wished for peace and understanding.
Yes, this is all common, but something special? Something more?
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Okay, let me spell it out. L-O-F-E.
Elafi?
Love. All second languages are learned out of love. Oh, yes. Women love Italian culture, Italian food, Italian way of life. That is why she learned Italian. People world all over love American movie, American TV. Bam! That is why they all learn English. It's always love, love, love. So, what do you love?
What do I?
What do you love that make you want to learn Esperanto?
I'm not sure I follow.
I knew a Dutch girl. And you know the Dutch. They speak languages like cauliflowers.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
They're coming out of their ears. This makes the Dutch very smug, very insufferable. And this girl, she broke my heart, but that is another story. The thing with this girl is that she had to learn languages. She was compelled. Each new language was like unlocking a door to a vast and otherwise impenetrable landscape. And once she started, she could not stop. So, if you cannot learn a tongue, what does this mean? Is it not possible that perhaps the opposite is true? That if you find you are blocked, resistant, perhaps you do not want to open that door. Perhaps you may be afraid of what might be on the other side.
Afraid?
It is a scary thing to speak a new language and be entendu. Comprende?
I think so.
Then go. Sing on it. You must ask yourself, who am I afraid of? What am I afraid to know?
Who?
It is only then that you will be able to call yourself by the name Esperantisto.
Who am I afraid to know? I'll try.
You will.
I never knew speaking a language required such bravery.
My dear, nothing on earth could possibly require more.
I lie on the floor of the lab. For how long, I don't know. But I have a kind of waking dream.
I dream that the floor of the lab has become a boneyard of languages. Scraps of words and language lying in heaps everywhere. Over here, lying on its back, is Ohrwurm, German for earworm, a song you can't get out of your head. Over there, Ambus Sinistris, being left-handed in both hands. Lying at my feet, Lethologica, the inability to recall the right word. And there, right in front of me, are all of the words I should have said to Mary, but didn't.
Say the right thing, George. Say the right thing and maybe I won't go. Maybe this isn't all irretrievably broken. Maybe we can still go on to have a life together. Maybe even grow a little old together and die in that non-tragic way you're so fond of. So, what do you have to say for yourself?
And when I get home, I will be calling wonderful Gary Seega, saying, "Hey Gary, how is Deja? How is your wife? How is Deja? Is she happy? Of course she is happy because she has nicest husband in our fog village."
And when I get home, I will be going to Avia's restaurant. Yes, because everyone
Avia,
knows
back home, and
Avia
everybody
makes best
knows
cold stew.
that.
Oh,
Avia
no
cooks
one
good
makes cold
stew.
stew like
She just
Avia
cooks it
processed stew.
for 1,000 years.
Someone close it, stinks, make restaurant to trap and die. I don't see no.
Stop it! What is wrong with you? You're acting like children, and I'm sick of it. Do you hear me? Sick of it! And if you don't resolve this, I'm going to send you right back to where you came from, where you two can torture yourselves as much as you like for the rest of your pathetic, miserable lives. I mean, my God, you two could have had it all. It was right within your grasp. But through sheer selfishness and pig-headedness and meanness, you have chosen darkness. You have chosen isolation. You have chosen loss. Your whole world is slipping through your fingers. All of it is about to disappear, and you won't fight for it. Fight for its existence. And excuse me if that makes me crazy. Excuse me if I find that just unbelievably wrong.
Sound like Mr. Science Man a bit upset.
Maybe because his wife left him.
What?
So sad. Quite a pickle.
How?
Walls are thin.
Practically non-existent.
How could you not hear it? How could you not hear it?
Temporary. A temporary. We're taking time off, that's it. Okay, that's all.
Time off? Sound more like goodbye.
Goodbye.
Didn't you hear it?
How could you not hear it?
I can't even hear out of my left ear, and I heard it.
You're both... You don't know what you're talking about.
We are your friend, Mr. Science Man. No need for secrets.
That's enough for today.
George? Maybe you not understand. You think the loss of our language is the loss of our world. And it's okay you think that. You linguists, you think everything is about language. But world die first, my friend. World die, the language follow. Our world is already gone. And we accept that, which maybe you do not. There is no amount of talk will bring what is gone. So sad to be so young and left alone.
Vremte mat, care siga shuste.
Ušteve, Gary Seega.
Mirne glesala.
Este mela.
No, I can't.
I cry for you. Now it's your turn to cry for me. Every road has a turning. That's one thing you're learning.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you have the time?
Oh, yeah. You're wearing a watch.
Oh, I know, but you see, I'm always worried that my watch is a little fast or a little slow. It's an old watch. Very valuable, sentimentally speaking. And so I have to ask people constantly what time it is to check it, make sure it's accurate.
That seems, if you don't mind me saying, to completely defeat the purpose of wearing a watch.
Indeed, indeed. Are you considering throwing it on the tracks?
What?
Your ring. I couldn't help but notice the way you've been twisting it, as if you're doubting whether you should stay married at all, wondering if it all wasn't an error, a delusion, a dream.
For your information, I was simply noticing how dirty it is and thinking to myself that I needed to clean it.
Oh, my mistake, my mistake.
I find making those kinds of assumptions fairly rude.
Yeah, I am rude. It's because I am old.
Well, that's no excuse.
Well, you'll be rude too when you're old. You'll see.
I don't think so.
So you left.
Excuse me?
Your husband.
How did you know?
Oh, your suitcase, your clothes, your air of guilt and freedom. Where do you plan to go?
I don't know. Not that it's any of your concern.
Certainly isn't. I agree. Might I inquire, though? Why?
Why?
Well, why did you leave? It seems to me, if you don't mind me saying, like a fairly large decision. And most of us, let us face it, do all we can not to change. But here you are, a woman who has chosen change. And so I'm curious, why?
Because I don't really know. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have to apologize, my dear. That is a good answer.
It's not ridiculous.
No, no. It's very hard to know what we know. People can spend a life trying to figure out such a thing. Do you know what you plan to do?
No. To be honest, I have no idea.
So, here we are. Two travelers. A woman who has embarked on a new life, and a man who is contemplating ending his.
Excuse me?
My plan today is to jump in front of the next train.
You must be... That's not true.
Oh, but it is true.
No, it isn't. You're not really going to do that.
Oh, yes. Quite really.
But why?
I don't know.
Are you sad?
No.
Then why?
I woke up this morning and felt like life was devoid of any meaning.
I too have felt that way. Many times.
I felt that nothing I did would ever have much significance in the world.
Yes, me too.
And that every day was just a trudging forth, a monotonous sameness, one foot in front of the other. But for what?
Yes, exactly. For what?
Yeah, but you see, I do not have it as easy as you. I have no state I can change so easily. Nothing to blame for my lack of meaning except myself. I have no children, I have no wife. I have no work. Not anymore.
But that's wonderful.
To have nothing?
To have nothing. To be tied to nothing. To be your own. I think that's both the saddest thing I've ever heard and also the most wonderful. Maybe you could go a little further into your sadness and see what's there. Can you?
I don't know.
It's like this. It's like you're in a room and you think it's the very last room, but there's another even further. There's a door. Can you see it? Can you open it?
I might.
Do you know how when you close your eyes tight and can see nothing, it's only then that there are sparks of light?
A door.
Go into that sadness further, and then maybe
There can be light.
a kind of light. All I know is sometimes you can feel so sad that it begins to feel like happiness, and sometimes you can be so happy that it starts to feel like grief, and sometimes you can feel so alive that it starts to feel like death, and sometimes you can feel so dead that you start to feel alive. And some people, most people, live their whole lives without touching any of these places at all. But I do. And you might. Did you see it? The door, the other room?
Not quite yet. But I might.
I'm glad you didn't jump.
I don't know why I didn't. I might tomorrow. I'm glad you didn't throw your ring on the tracks.
I don't know why I didn't. I might tomorrow. I'm hungry.
Finished!
We should eat something.
Perhaps you'd like to join me?
Actually, I would. Not to be nosy, but what is in that box?
Well, my dear, now that's a long story.
Should I vacuum the stairs, cook the roast, put up some bookshelves? Should I have planted a lawn to mow? Put up some some picture frames? Yes? No? How does this work? I have bought the coat, waxed the car, fixed the faucet, learned how to season a skillet, or none, or more, at all. How now, brown cow? To my wife, Mary, who left me. Twice. And it's like I can still hear her voice saying, I can hear you, George. I'm right here. I'm right here, she says.
resting. Mir ne lesula.
How is he?
Eh,
I spoke to a doctor also. Rustin's very ill. He's been sick for a long time. That's why he lost his appetite.
that's why he not eat.
Yes.
No.
He has. They say it can't be cured. I'm so sorry.
Well, you're old. Not a lot to have nothing but.
Alta, can I ask you something? I heard you speaking to him before. But I thought the ghost curse, I thought it was permanent.
It is.
Then how?
Real ghost curse take 4 dead animal, a shaman, and a very long pipe. We do how you say bastard ghost curse, English style. If we were in LOA, we can never take back. But everyone know if you say something in English, you don't really mean it. Say something in English, and you can always take it back.
Are there words in LOA that have no equivalent in English?
Yeah, like whole thing have no equivalent.
But specific words for specific things.
Take pick. In LOA, we never say time move forward or backward. Time is like pool, big or small. If we have slow day, we have big time. If we are in rush, we have small time. There is a word for a woman that looks beautiful from far away, but not so beautiful from up close. There is a word for a man that acts younger and younger as he gets older and older. There are all sorts of useful words, with no English version.
How do you say I love you in LOA?
We don't say it like that. It's mere neglesula. We don't say it like that. Like something you feel. We say mere ne glesula.
Mir ne glessola.
Mere ne glesula. Which mean don't leave me. Don't leave me. Because that is what I love you mean to us. I never want to not be with you, and I never want not by my side.
Mir ne glessola.
Maybe you should say it to Mr. Science Man, see what happened.
What?
Oh,
Why would I do that?
Oh, just an idea. Everybody needs someone to say hello to in the morning and goodbye to at night.
I don't know if it's that easy.
True, a lot of men kind of thick. Took a year for Rustin to finally say yes.
But I thought you were the one being chased by Gary Siga.
Oh, not by Gary Sega. But after you, Jason Rustin, he running around with this girl, that girl, Rena, Masi, Fifi, Gogo. Rustin think he's some gift from God. So, I go out with Gary Sega to make Rustin jealous. But I never want Gary, only want Rustin. To tell you the truth, I only ever want Rustin.
Ha!
Rustin, you wait!
Oh, yes!
Oh, all information, buddy. I only say what I say to me. Oh, you terrible man.
Yeah, come kiss this terrible man.
George. So, this is your house. Your books? Your wife. Hello, George's wife. Have a seat. Why, thank you, George. Don't mind if I do. You know, you look especially especially handsome today? And that shirt that doesn't match your eyes? You haven't worn it in a while, and I'm glad to see it reappear. I have fond associations of it. You wore it when we went to that conference in Atlanta, and we had lunch at the Algonquin, and you complained about how Americans pronounce it Algonquin, which is pretty much how I pronounce Algonquin, so I just kept quiet. We had cream of broccoli soup. You know, George, there's a little bit of hair at the back of your neck, and it makes me sad, as does the sound of your voice and the way sometimes I see the elastic in your socks give out, and I see them slumping around your ankles. In Ubik, you please me literally translates to, you cut my heart. George, you cut my heart. George! Hello.
Is this a dream?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. George, I've been looking for you everywhere. I called and I called.
I was at the train station and at the bus station. It seemed there were women with suitcases everywhere.
George, I need you to come with me.
Why? Where?
It doesn't matter. It's a long story. But they're talking again.
They are? They are.
Come on. Fine.
Hey, Mr. Science Man, come in. Have a seat.
What happened?
Oh, nothing to worry about.
Preston.
It is true. Good thing about life, it is full of nasty surprises. But death, when you are old, is not one of them.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reston. I really am.
Why? Not your fault. Maybe it is better I am here. You know, medicine not so good in our village. Here, all fancy, beep beep here, boop boop there.
How's Alta?
Ah, she wanted to go cook something. Bring me food. That woman, if she could strap oven to her back, she would. But what is happening with you? Your wife, she is really gone? Very hard, this marriage business. Eloise used to have up to 3 wives. But 3 wives, such pain in the ass. Husbands beg to have it go down to just 1.
She was so unhappy, Preston. But when we first met, God, she was something. She really was.
Let me tell you a story. In the beginning of the world, there was one big, handsome, strong kind of guy. And he has to go off and capture the golden fleece.
Fleece.
No, fleece. What's a fleece? Fleek is kind of bird. Anyway, Fleek has nest at top of highest tree in all of world. So warrior, say we call him Rested. He have to climb this tree. And we are talking one big fucking tree. But this bird, say we call her Alta. She is very crafty. She like to play. Hey, come get me if you can. No. So what can Rustin do? He have to climb fucking tree. So he climb, and finally he get to top of tree and grab Alta by the ankle so she cannot fly away. Alta, she is holy cow. She is flip out. She is panic. She does not on. And then she change again. And this time, motherfucker, she is scariest thing ever in the whole world. She is demon and hairy monster and white man with gun all rolled up in one. And rested, just about to want to soil himself. He is so scared. He do not let go. He grip tighter and tighter, the scareder and scareder he get. And then you know what happened? The bird. She changed into one like form. And this is her true form. And you know what it is? A little lamb. Nothing but a little lamb. Meek and mild and beautiful. That's all she really was the whole time. She only changed to all those terrible things because she was scared. That is marriage, my friend. Same as myth, except each is both hunter and changer. Do you understand? Each grab hold of ankle of the other. Each is terrified of the other. And each take on many, many different forms. But you hold on. Because if you hold on, no matter how scared you get, something amazing happens. We all become too tired to change, and we become who we really are. No more roar, no more fang, no more claw. No, we are two lambs. We are two sparrows. We are mild and meek. And you know what else?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Rested.
Sleep, maybe, just for a little while.
She let go. Rested. She let go. God. Is this how this feels? This is how this feels.
How's he doing? George? George?
She left.
What?
My wife left. A short lesson in Esperanto. Mi estas amata.
Mi estas amata.
Mi estas amata.
Mi estas amata.
I am loved. Mi estas amita.
Mi estas amita.
I have been loved. Mi estas amota.
Mi estas amota.
I am about to be loved.
I am about
Mi estis amata.
Mi estis amata.
I was loved.
I was.
Mi estis amita.
Mi estis amita.
I had been loved. Mi estis amota.
Mi estis amota.
I was about to be loved.
Kim costas la tuba? Kim costas la George. No. USS George.
He's the most wonderful. He's my boss.
Caries and Imanita.
Yes, absolutely terribly in love.
The post Kim.
Well, at first I thought it was only recently, but the more and more I think about it, the clearer it is I've been in love with him the entire time I've known him. 4, maybe 5 years.
Girl, kill Yahroy.
Yes.
Kai beef daddy and diddies?
I couldn't. He was married.
Oh.
My goodness. I can't believe I just told someone.
Okay. Yakian di Devas bari. Devas diri ari.
Tell him I couldn't.
Devas.
In Esperanto?
No, in English, in whatever language you're most comfortable with.
But he doesn't. I'm pretty sure if he was going to fall in love with me, he would have done it by now.
Does not matter. You must get it off your chest, get it off your mind. Until you do, Esperanto will not enter you. You have too much fear, too much doubt, too much angst.
But what if I can't?
Okay then. Second story of the Dutch girl.
The one who broke your heart?
None other. She was beautiful, this Dutch girl. 6 feet tall and built like a Viking. She could swim frozen rivers, catch rabbits with her bare hands. She taught me how to cook a fish and build a klerokia.
And then?
And then came the Basque man.
The Basque man?
Yes, the Basque man with his beret set at a rakish angle.
So what happened?
Is it not obvious? I, who had only ever known German, was no match for the romance and mystery of the Basque man. It was a new door, and so I did all I could to keep her. She was already fumbling for the keys.
What happened?
What did I do? Told her I loved her. Told her I could not live without her. Told her the sun rose on this shoulder and set on the other.
And?
And then she left.
Didn't she understand?
Are you not listening? She was Dutch. She spoke better German than I.
Then I don't understand.
Don't you see? I was heartbroken, yes. But while I was in love with her, I was too afraid to learn a single tongue. She was a master speaker. How could I let her see my inadequacies? But in professing my love for her, something inside me loosened. She was gone, yes, but she had left the door open. That is why you must tell him, not for him, never for him, but for yourself. This is your greatest fear, and you must face it. Yes, it may break you to do so, but until you do, how else will you ever be free?
But what if I don't have it in me?
You do. You must. Love makes warriors of us all. Hamoy kiel mine honas timon. Men such as me know no fear. Say it. Hamoy kiel mine honas timon.
Hamoil kill mene konas timon?
Hamoy kiel mine honas timon.
Hamoil kill mene konas timon?
Hamoy kiel mine honas timon. Now go out there and say, George, I love you.
George, I love you.
George, I love you.
George, I love you.
George, me amas vin.
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 I leave the office and I feel great. I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm gonna walk into that lab and tell George how I feel. Fear be damned. I can't wait. And suddenly, I realize it's a beautiful day. People pass by. My God, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous. Why haven't I seen this before? People pass by and the women are beautiful. Their babies are beautiful. Even the beggars are beautiful. And then suddenly, a breeze lifts across my face and brings with it, excuse me, what in the world is that incredible smell?
That was the smell of bread.
But where is it coming from?
Right over there.
I follow his hand, and I see the blue tulip bake shop. The sunlight hits it at a slant, and it's so perfect, so beautiful, just like a movie set. Someone's perfect idea of what a bakery should look like, except it's real, and it's right there. And you know those cartoons, where the son of a food becomes a hand, and the fingers of the hand lift a character by its nose right out of its seat? That's what I feel happening to me. And in the back, I see the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Welcome, welcome. You don't know it yet, but you are the luckiest person in the world. Why is that? Because this is just out of the oven. Hurry, it won't be the same if it cools. It's so good. Mary? Do I know you? No, I must be mistaken. I thought you were a different Mary. A different Mary. How marvelous. I've never been mistaken for another Mary before. What can I do for you? Well, I was walking by and I smelt your delicious bread. We have sourdough, of course, but also lavender chocolate, 4-grain lemon pomegranate, wild honey and pistachio, fig and manchego. And do you make them all yourself? I make them all myself. I bake bread all through the night, and when the bread is all gone, I close the shop, and then I go home and sleep. Sometimes I dream I'm baking bread, and that's how it goes. From a waking happiness to a sleeping happiness, and back again. Like water being poured back and forth between 2 cups.
And you're that happy?
Oh yes, happiest I've ever been in my life.
How did you come to do this?
Well, quite recently I left my husband. That was a hard time.
Why did you leave?
Well, it sounds strange to say it, but the truth is, I was sad. I'd simply become too sad to stay, so I left. I left without much, just a suitcase, and I really didn't have a plan. And then I was at the train station wondering where I should go. And I met this old man. He asked for the time, and we started talking, and he told me that he was a baker, but he was leaving his bakery. Why, I asked him, and he told me that he was tired of baking bread. He had never wanted to be a baker, but his father had been a baker, and his father's father had been a baker, and so on and so forth. His last name was actually Baker, if you can believe it. Anyway, this man had decided enough was enough. He locked up his bakery, put up a sign that said closed until further notice, and he was off. And then I noticed he was carrying a very odd box, and he's always been the curious type, so I asked him what was in it. And he sighed a great sigh and said it was the one thing he could not leave behind. It was his inheritance, the most precious thing he owned. It was his starter.
His what?
His starter. All bread you see comes from a starter. The most common is the yeast you buy in little packets at the supermarket, but it's alive, you know? It's a living organism. And truly great bread comes from truly great starters. When I first started baking, I'd heard tales of starters passed down from generation to generation. Ancient starters that had been kept alive for years, for decades. But keeping a starter alive takes time. You have to feed it, watch it, make sure it doesn't die. And this poor man had been tethered to his starter. His father had passed it down to him, made him the keeper of the starter. How could he abandon it? And as I heard the story, I got this strange little tingling feeling in my chest, and I heard myself say, "Give me your starter. Let me take care of it." And as soon as I heard myself say it, I understood that it was nothing less than my heart's truest desire. I I wanted this starter. I wanted to bake bread. And I have no idea why, but this man must have seen something in me he trusted, because he gave me a starter. He gave me the keys to this bakery, and now he's off, traveling the world just like he always wanted. And that is how I wound up here, baking bread. Isn't that a marvelous story?
And you won't go back to your old life?
Oh no, never. I belong here now.
And you don't miss your husband?
No. I mean, I think of him, worry about him, you know. But no, I don't miss that life. It's not who I am. I couldn't go back. It's not just that the door is closed. It's that I don't even know where the door is anymore. Well, now, what can I get you? What? This is a bake shop. I'd assume you'd like to buy some bread.
I'll take whatever you gave me. That was delicious.
An excellent choice.
Oh, there's nothing more wonderful than warm bread.
So true.
George! George, I have so much to tell you. George? Me and my spin. Me and my spin.
It hit your leaf.
What is this?
Nothing.
Mir neglectala.
That was Alta's voice.
Yeah, she's part of it.
You've spliced together different recordings, but they're all saying the same thing. In all their different languages, the same thing. How long have you been working on this?
Not long. It's my project, I guess you could call it.
Is this for something? Is this for Mary?
No. How could it be? I don't even know where she is. It's funny. I was cleaning the other day and I found one of her earrings. There are other things too. I find things of hers all the time. Even now. I've cleaned and I've cleaned, but parts of her remain.
George, are you crying?
What?
Your face.
Oh, I've been doing that a lot lately. So, what was it you wanted to tell me?
I like a good cranberry nut loaf. Do you?
What?
It's hard to find a good cranberry nut loaf. I found this new old bakery in the Upper Midlands. Have you heard about it?
No.
The bread there, it's quite extraordinary.
Bread?
Yes, the woman who runs the place, she just started recently, and she kneads the bread herself with this incredibly old starter, and alchemy, or I don't know, energy goes into the dough, and it produces this marvelous bread.
Bread.
Yes, they say whoever eats the bread can't help but fall in love with the baker. George, I think you should go there. In fact, I think you should go there right now.
Emma.
It's on Carmichael Street, Blue Tulip Bake Shop. You can't miss it.
Emma, you really are wonderful.
Don't forget. George. Mirne Glassala. Mirne Glassala.
I'm looking for you.
I know, my mother says you call a lot.
She wouldn't tell me where you were.
I asked her not to.
Why?
Never understood what you were trying to say.
Just a small thing.
George,
Please, take it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait. Here.
Every now and then, I have a dream. I dream of Eden. Eden Smith. Eden was the last speaker of Slevich. She was born in 1912, and she told me once in one of the great displays of understatement, "It's sad to be the last speaker of your language." Yes, it is. And then I start thinking about my grandmother. Even now, years after she's died, I can still hear her voice with utter clarity. It tells me things in a tongue that is both as familiar to me as my own face and absolutely incomprehensible. This language, this cacophony, this gibberish, this music. My grandmother kept it locked inside of her like a recipe, like a riddle. And to me, that made her strange. I didn't like her strangeness. I separated myself from it and from her the very first chance I could. I've been spending my whole life trying to make up for that. I guess I always will.
Excuse me. What on earth is that heavenly smell?
Red.
Where did it come from?
There.
I've decided to go on a long trip. I don't know where. I don't know how long. All that matters is simply to go. Anywhere, somewhere, as long as it isn't here. Since I'm on a journey and all, I decided to be open to meeting new people. Mary was open to meeting new people, and look what happened to her. Hello. I'll be the kind of person who'll strike up conversation with perfect strangers. Nice weather we're having. Of course, to be that kind of person, it helps if perfect strangers talk back. Well, no matter. I brought lots of reading material.
Tickets. Where are you headed?
To the lower Midlands. Is this the right train?
You're in the wrong car. This is the car for the well-loved. You want the car for the broken-hearted.
But what she really said was,
You're in the wrong car. This car doesn't open at Lower Midlands. You You want to be one of the first 4.
Thank you. I'm just about to get up and move my seat, Gwen.
Excuse me, but how are your eyes?
My eyes?
Can you see very well?
I always thought I could see quite fine.
How many fingers am I holding up?
4.
I'm not holding up any fingers.
Oh dear.
Maybe I should check your vision. Huh?
And just like that, he does. You know, I don't usually get eye exams from perfect strangers.
Look up.
I always thought I had quite good vision.
Look down.
Would you like an apple? I brought some with me.
Nenne Kinder.
You'll be a parson Esperanto?
Speak it. I invented it.
Could this man be? Could this be none other than L.L. Zamenhof, my instructor's personal hero and the inventor of Esperanto?
None other, please.
Well, this is turning out to be a wonderful trip.
To the left, please. To the right. Good.
What's your prognosis?
Well, my dear, I hate to break it to you, but you are going blind.
Blind? No.
Yes. Tell me, are you suffering from unrequited love?
Yes, how did you know?
People who suffer from unrequited love look and feel as if they are invisible.
So true.
And it is a little known fact that to be invisible is to be blind. Light, you know, has to bounce off of the retina. That's how we see. So if you are invisible, no light bouncing off. Hence, blind.
So what do I do?
You must fall out of love, not be invisible. Then you will be able to see.
Well, it sounds very simple when you say it, but I've been in love for such a long time, I don't know how to fall out of love.
How many fingers am I holding up?
I have no idea.
Where's this train going?
To the Lower Midlands.
Will I see my family there?
You don't know where your family is?
Lots of rest, lots of sleep. Fall out of love as soon as you are able.
Zamenhof, the inventor of Esperanto, has given me sound advice.
This is my stop.
I watch him go, this great man, and then I wake up.
Emma?
George,
I thought that was you. I just got on. Where are you headed?
to the Lower Midlands.
Why?
Didn't you see my note?
What note?
In the lab?
No. I haven't been back to the lab since I saw you last.
Well, if you must know, I'll be taking a trip.
A trip?
Yes, to somewhere quite far away.
And when will you be returning?
I'm not sure, but when I do, I'll be looking for a job.
But you have a job.
I'm talking about a different job?
You're leaving the archive?
Yes?
I thought you liked the archive.
I do, but I think it's time for me to move on.
Well, what on earth will I ever do without you?
Well, you'll manage.
Actually, I don't know that I will.
Where are you headed?
Nowhere, really. I just like trains.
I do too. I like looking out the window and watching the houses go by, and wondering about the people who live in them. Sometimes it makes me sad. I don't know why. That must sound silly.
Not at all. Emma, isn't there anything I can do to induce you to stay?
To stay?
Yes.
Well, I suppose. No, I've made up my mind.
But there must be some reason you're leaving.
I'm not at liberty pretty to say.
Well, this is terrible news.
Did you find the bakery?
No, I guess in the end I decided I just wasn't in the mood for bread. I don't think I will ever go there.
Never?
No, I don't think I ever will.
And then something happens. My vision clears and, oh, it doesn't mean I'm falling out of love or anything, but it's like I can see George. I can see him so clearly. I can see him as a little boy riding the trains with his mother, with his father, without his mother, without anyone else, and I can see how happy that makes him. I don't know how I see all of this looking at him, but I do. And I thought I was in love with him before, but that was nothing. That was just a warm-up. This is it. This is love. And it's awful and terrible and really overwhelming. George,
Yes.
would you really hate it if I quit?
Yes, I really would.
Well, I suppose I can stay.
Really?
For a little while.
Please, Emma, it would mean so much. This is Lower Midlands. This is your stop.
No, actually, I don't think it is. Now, I'm not saying George was motivated out of anything other than a desire for things not to change. It's not like he was in love with me or anything. He was just used to having me around.
Is the equipment ready?
And now I'm not saying he'll grow to fall in love with me or anything. I mean, I'm trying to be realistic here. But lately, it seems to me, maybe it's my imagination, but he lingers.
Excellent. The microphone is working again.
Me Amosvin George. Mirne Glasola. Mirne Glasola.
What was that?
Nothing, just gibberish. A letter!
Hello, good American friends. We have reached our village safely. Alto was very worried about her garden, but everything seems A-okay, even the tomatoes. Alta is very fond of her tomatoes. Reston is weak, getting weaker, but better for him to die at home than in scary white place that smells like steel.
Doctor here say time is soon for Reston, but do not be sad, friends. We have lived long life full of change and wonder. We are two old people who have been sane for a very long time, started to think maybe we could only ever be sane.
Made us sad a little. World change, but we not change. And sometimes we think we are too old for change.
But then, friends, most amazing thing happened.
We are on plane ride home. This time we're not so afraid. We know the rope how you say. And we squeeze up in tiny road to get to seat.
And I say to Alta,
Mesela rasata.
which mean,
Here, sweetie heart of mine, you take window seat. And I say,
úseme ver.
no, you. Now time has become very small. Too small for everything that we need to say to each other. It is one long conversation that goes on and on and on.
And I do think of Zamenhof. I dreamed of him one more time.
And how is your vision?
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Still in love?
Still in love.
Well, there are worse things.
Zamenhof, can I ask you something?
Of course.
In the end, when they persecuted anyone speaking Esperanto, and they singled out your children for what you'd done, did you ever regret it? Did you ever wish you remained nothing more than an ophthalmologist And given up your dream of a universal tongue?
No, no, no. Because what is language, my dear, if not an act of faith?
And what can I say except Donkin Zamenhof, Donkin?
Ĉu vi parolas Esperanton?
Of course.
But I speak Esperanto.
I know, that's why I learned it.
Bonege. Do ne parolos en kune, yes?
Yes.
The next appointment is here. Are you ready? Welcome to the Language Archive. How was your flight?
Rustin lived a little bit longer than anyone thought he would. He and Alter bickered lovingly until the end of their days. They didn't die, though. They became two trees that intertwined around each other, so one would never have to suffer the loss of the other. And I know that it sounds like some old myth and not reality, but that's the way I chose to tell it. And what's it to you if the last two speakers of Eloah are now trees that whisper lovingly to each other all day long?
Mary continued to bake at the Blue Tool Bake Shop. Mr. Baker never returned. She only received a postcard once from an island off the coast of Greece that accompanied a box of dried grapes. The postcard said, "Feed this to the starter." And she did. The starter continues to produce marvelous bread.
And eventually, Mary listened to George's tape. It was the saddest and most beautiful recording ever made. A symphony of voices all saying the words, "I love you," in each of their own doomed tongues.
After George's visit, the bread did noticeably get salty, but even then, it was still delicious.
George never did read Mary's last note. Once, when he was a very old man, he came across it. And by then, he felt the wounds were so old that he could bear reading what they had to say. But upon unfolding it, he found the note was blank. And whether it was blank because Mary hadn't written anything, or because the ink had faded after so much time, George was never able to say.
George never did fall in love with Emma. They worked side by side for many years, and that was a kind of love. But no, George never did fall in love again.
But on his deathbed, out of all of the memories of his entire life, only one came back to him. And it was this.
It was the time that Emma embraced him after he knew in his heart of heart that Mary was gone.
As she holds him, Emma is overcome with joy.
As he is held, George is overcome with grief.
It is nothing less than the embrace of perfect happiness and perfect sadness. And it is maybe the only time in all of history that two people, despite the fact that they're feeling entirely opposite things, actually feel the exact same thing in the exact same moment in time.
And it is the one and only time in their brief lives
That they feel utterly and completely
Perfectly understood.